Hey folks, it's Greg and Janet. Today we're at the Gregg County Historical Museum in Longview, Texas. We've heard some really great things about it. Let's go inside and check it out. Alright guys, we're inside the museum. It was $5 a person to get in, and if you're a senior citizen, it's only $2 a person to get in.
German prisoners. Yeah, we had a lot of German prisoners here.
Yeah, these were ashtrays that were carved by German prisoners. Wow.
Oh, nice gun.
So this is a letter from Humble and Oil Refining Company that related to the 68 cents per barrel price of oil in 1931. Got some oil drilling bits.
All this stuff.
And equipment.
Big time oil fields out here.
Yeah. Some farming equipment.
There was a Maddie's Ballroom, a dance club in Longview. You know they did a lot of bootlegging. I know what that is.
Yeah, that's an old toaster.
Look at those shoes.
This is a display on bootlegging here in the county of Gregg.
This actually was part of Upshur County. In 1870s, they separated, something like that. And they used to have trolleys pulled by mules in town.
Wow.
There's about 80,000 people here in town now.
Look at this. The Longview Cannibals Texas League franchise.
Cannibals?
That's what it says.
They'll eat you alive.
Got some silverware, chinaware.
Look at that neat ceiling.
Yeah.
Golly. Looks like it's got layers and layers of paint on it.
Probably does. Alright, we've got a display for the Kilgore Rangerettes. Now, when I was in college, I went to Navarro, and when we played Kilgore, we ended up, during that game, the Rangerettes were in the stands cheering, and it was quite impressive. That was back in the 80s. Look at the old TV.
That is cool.
RCA man. Victor.
Looks like the Jetsons.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. This town of Longview, or the city of Longview, is known as the balloon racing capital of the United States. Or is it of the world?
I don't know. It's a big to-do, though.
And there's a balloon basket.
Oh, wow.
This is an old radio display, or what do you call that? A radio station display.
Yeah.
Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash in Gregg County. Yes, there was a history of Elvis being in East Texas. We've got a video that we have done on that. Look at the dollhouse.
Yeah, it is. Look at it, it's got a lot of detail.
It's almost like a hoarder's house, Jan. Look how much furniture there is and everything in there.
Wow.
Teaching kids to be hoarders.
Look, you see legs sticking out of the bathtub. That's cute.
How does her leg bend that way?
Oh, this is like a little sewing thing. What is this?
Yeah, I guess so.
It is.
Huh. Charlie Neal. He was born in Longview, Texas. I didn't know that. Charlie Neal played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. This right here, this display here is a display on the Texas Rangers, not the baseball team, the lawmen. They are still around today.
Wow. Look at that.
A Mosler Safe Company. So this was the vault to the old jail here, or to the old courthouse. Bank, yes.
Uh-oh.
Look at the locking mechanism on that. Wow. Okay, we got a display on the Dalton Gang. Fitting that it would be in the vault. Now, when this bank was robbed, I believe it was in 1894, Bill Dalton was the mastermind behind that robbery.
Yeah, that's May 23rd, 1894. But there's a big family. There's 15 kids.
We got all kinds of displays on how they became outlaws. This is Bill Dalton's death photo. This is Mr. Jim Bennett. He was killed here during the robbery. He was one of the gang members. And it talks about the robbery itself, 1894, May 23rd. The clues: the dead man was identified as Mr. Jim Bennett. This is what the street looked like at the time of the robbery.
Wow. What a difference.
Yeah. This would have been inside this building, the bank we're in now. That would be Bill Dalton. How cool to have this here.
Yes, most everything is just all donated. So you get a mixture of stuff. It's just so neat.
This is
Creepy dolls.
a parlor or living room setting. Yeah, I don't like creepy dolls either.
Oh my gosh, I get goosebumps every time.
Polk Harris violin. James Knox Polk Harris lived in East Texas in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and in 1863 bought the Polk Harris violin during his service in the Civil War. Although Harris could not read or write music, he had a natural talent for improvising and won 3 state championships. Harris was accompanied by the pianist Luther Granville Calvin until his death and until his health began to decline. Calvin's daughter Lorraine agreed to take his place beside Harris, and the two formed a strong partnership. While on his deathbed, Harris wanted to ensure that Lorraine received his violin. He personally presented the violin to her. Lorraine Calvin went on to enter a fiddler's contest in Dallas that was broadcast over the radio. Calvin, who married Benjamin Franklin Martin, became a fixture in Longview's music scene by organizing and directing the Longview String Ensemble, a predecessor to the Longview Symphony Orchestra. Lorraine Calvin Martin eventually willed the violin to the symphony, who in turn sold it to Sam Hopkins. Martin's son, B. Franklin Martin Jr., later purchased the violin, placing it back in the Martin family. The back of the violin is decorated with an illustration of Nicola Paganini, the famed violinist who lived during the 18th and 19th centuries. Ad Gloriam Paganini, which means to the glory of Paganini, is carved on the sides of the violin, while the scroll was carved into a likeness of the famed violin maker Gaspard de Frapperger. Yeah, you can see the carving there. And yeah, you can see the carving on the side of the violin. That's cool. Beautiful.
Pretty neat. Oh, Gene Autry.
Happy trails.
The trails to you till we meet again.
All the old West Cowboys.
Yeah.
Roy Rogers.
Little fancy shoe covers.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen those in real life, ever. And how they connect button.
Well, you've seen it now, girl.
Oh my gosh.
What would this be? Some type of a receipt book?
Large
46
big pen.
yards of shortening.
It's from a grocery store,
Yeah.
from a grocer.
Yeah, a general store.
Yeah, so somebody, they said put it on my tab type thing.
Right, that's exactly what I said. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
I was thinking
That's how they'd keep track with how much each customer owed.
like these are alphabet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The letters. That's really cool.
That is neat.
Good idea.
And yes, we have a collection of typewriters. And this is how ladies back in the day would buy their thread.
Isn't that neat?
They would come in holders like that. And yeah, it is cool.
A display.
And
We had one like this that was in a case. And had the ribbon you had to spin. Just I think it was an Underwood too. I swear it looks like the one I grew up with.
here's a painting of the bank building that we're in. This would have been back. This was done in 1982, but it looks like it's 1890s time period.
That's pretty cool.
Early photos of the town here. Oh, we've got a inside of a cabin here built down here. So this would have been the type of living quarters that people expected to have here in Gregg County back in the 1800s.
Wow. This is really cool for kids for a field trip. This would be really neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amazing.
That would be a rocker along. You could sit there with your baby and rock.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that cute?
That's cool. I didn't really, yeah. You figured that out quick.
You want a bath?
No, thank you. That just looks uncomfortable. How do you get out? Okay, this is back in the day when they would print newspapers, they would print it in dots. And this is what they would call a halftone. How the dots, when looked up close, you can't make out the image, but when you back away from it, it looks more like this.
We got one here.
Like a real photograph.
That too. You can see the little dots too. Can you see the dots? It's cool.
Huh. So this was a printing press display.
We got buttons to push. You want me to push buttons?
You're always pushing buttons. Got some good, got some good.
Look at the little chalkboard they had for kids.
So that's what they would use instead of paper.
And when's the last time you seen a ruler like this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
These were weapons. These looks like appear to be weapons used in World War II.
Yeah, here they've got them labeled.
They're missing one.
Yeah, number 29. What was that? That was a 22 caliber copy of the U.S. carbine. That was supposed to be there. Top one was a sniper rifle.
There's a war ration book from Korea, from the Korean conflict.
And that's top one's a Russian sniper rifle
Ah,
from 1953.
okay.
What's that one? Number 3. Czechoslovakian assault rifle.
Wow.
Czechoslovakia. Yeah,
Like a
that's
big giant handgun. This is a German 77 shell case picked up on the battlefront in 1918 and hammered into the town, and yeah, it says hammered into the town of Clisson, France. Sent to Miss Dolly North cut by Sergeant Murdoch Williams.
It says this rifle down here, this one,
Uh-huh.
U.S. Winchester model 1897, trench gun equipped with model 1917 bayonet. They were in production 1897 to 1957. Wow.
Going into the next, this is pottery that's been found in the area.
Yeah, that's the Caddo collection.
Oh, from Caddo Lake.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of stuff that was found.
There's a very historic lake here, the Caddo Lake, which is kind of a swamp now, but I guess all of this pottery was found in that area. Some of them dating back to 1700 AD.
I heard that Buddy Calvin Jones, that's the guy that found most of this, and he had it authenticated and registered, and so all this is, they were not replicas. This is real stuff.
Wow. Well, some of it's beautiful. It's amazing that he found this much of it.
Makes you wonder when something has detail in it, if it was for ceremonial, or was it daily use, or was it, when your friends come over to make you put all your fancy stuff in?
Yeah. All kinds of pottery, man.
Yeah, it's really detailed.
To be able to find all those pieces and put them back together. And all of these date back to AD. Or 1400.
There's some back there.
1400 to 1700 it looks like what the time period is of most of this.
Yeah. I heard that he had some that went all the way back to 800.
Wow. This is them excavating some of the pottery that was found. Excavating.
See, that's AD 700 to 1600, so it's even further back. A possibility. It's in that time range, so amazing stuff.
These are gorgets. They were most likely worn around the neck and may have been a sign of rank. Yeah, this one's from 600 to 1000 AD.
Wow.
Now some of these pendants here, or some of these arrowheads here, actually go back to 8,500 to 6,500 BC. Janet and I are having a discussion about this pair of pants.
Right.
To me, that looks like a butt flap, so that in the military you could use the restroom without taking your pants off. But Janet thinks that might be the front.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think that's the back.
I don't know, but I mean, like, either way, it takes forever to get it off to do your business.
Yeah, you better not be in a hurry, huh?
You see, it's got strings in the back to keep it tight.
I think there's strings in the front.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna start looking up old uniforms.
Don't you remember all the old TV shows where men would wear the one-piece sleep suit and they'd have the flap in the back?
But I figured they tuck their shirt in and make them look all, neat.
She thinks she knows more about men than me. She probably does. Piano. I'm not sure if it belonged to Van Cliburn or not, but they do have a Van Cliburn display above us here, and basically the Van Cliburn family moved to Kilgore, Texas, here in Gregg County in 1938, and this is where Van Cliburn performed his first piano recital and established his prodigious skill. He was a world-renowned pianist, and he actually played a concert after taking 2 decades off, a break which he performed for 2 decades straight, just like crazy all across the world. He then took 2 decades off and then performed for President Reagan and Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev. I'm not sure if this was one of his pianos or not, but it's here. And then they also have a display for the Champagne Lady from the Lawrence Welk show, who was born in Kilgore, Texas here.
Yeah, apparently she was known for her petticoats, and she was actually fired on the show for showing too much leg. And the audience and the viewer response was so overwhelming that Lawrence Welk tried to hire her back, and she did not want to go. So she came back to Texas and ran a dress shop later.
Scandalous.
Yeah, and my grandmother actually practiced piano, played the piano with Lawrence Welk, and when he was practicing, so she knew him. I bet they might have crossed paths, but I doubt it, because that wasn't, you know, an everyday thing. My grandmother actually played piano for Lawrence Welk.
Cool.
Strange RV tours will take you places with Gregg and Janet's smiling faces. You might see a crazy flavored soda review or some tips to fix your RV too. So come along, won't you join us, friend, as we discover what's around the bend. Just sit right back in your easy chair. Strange RV Tours is on the air. Strange RV Tours is on the air.